My name is Monica. I'm 32 years old and I've been working as a programmer for the last 8 years. I have a younger sister, Rebecca, who's 28 and married to Tom. They have a 4-year-old son named Ethan. I've been renting the same one-bedroom apartment since I graduated from college. It's not much, but it has reliable internet, which is all I really need for my remote job. For the past 3 years, I've been saving every extra dollar I could to finally buy my own place. Last month, I hit my target amount for a down payment. I was so excited that I called my mom right away. "Mom, guess what? I finally saved enough for a down payment." "That's wonderful, honey. What kind of place are you thinking of getting?" Mom asked. "Just a small one-bedroom condo, something easy to maintain that won't break the bank." There was a pause on the other end of the line. "Monica, don't be silly, you need to think ahead, you should get a bigger place, at least 3 bedrooms. "Why would I need that many rooms? It's just me." "Well, you might get married someday, and have kids. Better to buy a place you can grow into than having to move again later." I laughed. "Mom, I haven't even been on a date in over a year. Marriage and kids aren't exactly on my immediate horizon." "That's because you work too much. Maybe if you had a nice home, you'd entertain more, meet someone." I sighed, knowing this conversation was heading nowhere good. My mother had been dropping hints about my single status for years now. I hired a realtor named Dave the next day. He showed me several nice one-bedroom condos that would have been perfect. But every time I found something I liked, Mom had an objection: "Too small, the kitchen is outdated, that neighborhood doesn't have good schools." 2 months into my house hunt, my mom started coming with me to viewings. I shouldn't have let her, but it seemed easier than dealing with her complaints afterward. Dave started showing us bigger places, 3 and 4 bedroom houses. Way more than I needed or wanted. But Mom kept saying things like, "This would make a perfect nursery," or "Imagine having your in-laws stay in this guest room." One day, Dave showed us a beautiful 4-bedroom house with a big backyard. It was way over my original budget, but thanks to my aggressive saving, I could technically afford the down payment. I ran the numbers that night and the monthly mortgage payments would be tight but doable if I cut back on other expenses. Mom was thrilled when I told her I was considering it. "That's my smart girl, you won't regret this, honey, that house has everything you need." I wasn't convinced, but I was tired of looking, and maybe Mom was right. Maybe I was being too cautious, too narrow in my thinking. What if I did meet someone? What if I did start a family? Wouldn't I be glad then that I had the space? I scheduled a second viewing of the house and was almost ready to make an offer. Before doing that, I decided to stop by my parents' house to tell them the news in person. It was Sunday afternoon when I drove over. I still had a key to their place, the same house where I grew up, a modest 3-bedroom in an older neighborhood. I let myself in, calling out as I entered. No one answered, but I could hear voices coming from the kitchen. As I walked down the hallway, I realized they were on speakerphone. With Rebecca. I was about to announce myself when I heard my name. "Monica has no idea," my mom was saying, her voice smug. "We've got her convinced to buy that big 4-bedroom house, and then your father and I will move in with her." "And you're sure she'll be okay with that?" Rebecca asked. "Of course she will. What's she going to do with all those empty rooms? She's an old maid, she'll never get married. This way, she won't be alone, and we can give you and Tom our house." I froze in the hallway, unable to believe what I was hearing. "It's the perfect setup," Dad chimed in. "We won't have to pay rent or utilities anymore. Monica makes good money, she can cover everything. And we'll have extra to send your way too, Beck." "So Monica doesn't suspect anything?" my sister asked. Mom laughed. "Not a thing, she always does what we tell her. Whatever house we want her to buy, she'll buy it. I've got her completely under control." I felt sick. My own family was planning to use me like this? To trick me into buying a house so they could move in and mooch off me forever? I backed away quietly, then went to the front door and slammed it loudly. "Hello, anybody home?" I called out, pretending I had just arrived. "In the kitchen, honey," Mom called back, her voice suddenly sweet. We were just talking about you. Yeah, I bet you were, I thought as I plastered a fake smile on my face and walked toward the kitchen, my mind racing with what I'd just discovered. I walked into the kitchen, my hands trembling slightly as I tried to act normal. Mom and Dad were sitting at the table, the phone between them. Hi sweetie, Mom said, quickly ending the call. How's the house hunting going? Have you decided on that beautiful 4-bedroom yet? I'm still thinking about it, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. There are a few things I need to consider before I make such a big commitment. What's there to think about? Dad asked. Your mother and I both agree it's perfect for you. I bet you do, I thought bitterly. The mortgage payments would be pretty high, I said. I'm not sure I want to be that financially stretched. Oh, but it's such a good investment, Mom insisted. Property always appreciates. I nodded and changed the subject, asking about their garden while my mind raced. Throughout dinner, I smiled and nodded at all the right moments, but inside I was seething. These people, my own parents, were plotting to leech off me for the rest of their lives while setting up my sister with a free house. When I left an hour later, I sat in my car and finally let the tears come. I felt betrayed, used, and incredibly stupid. How had I not seen this coming? The signs had been there, Mom pushing for the bigger house, their sudden interest in my finances, the constant calls asking about my progress with the realtor. I drove home in a daze. As soon as I got back to my apartment, I called my college roommate, Jennifer. She had moved to Colorado after graduation and we still kept in close touch. Jen, you won't believe what just happened, I said when she answered, then I poured out the whole story. Those manipulative morons, Jen exclaimed when I finished. Mon, you need to get as far away from them as possible. I know, I sighed, but I've been saving for 3 years, I really want to buy a place. So buy one, she said, just not where they expect you to. Buy a place here in Boulder. It's beautiful, there are tons of tech jobs, and best of all, it's 1,500 miles from your toxic family. I laughed, thinking she was joking, but then she continued. I'm serious, Mon, my real estate agent, Kim, is amazing. I could ask her to send you some listings, you could do virtual tours, I'd check out any places you were interested in. The more I thought about it, the more I liked the idea, a clean break, a fresh start. You know what, let's do it. Have Kim send me some options. The next day, Kim emailed me a dozen listings for small houses and condos in Boulder. I was pleasantly surprised by how much more affordable they were compared to where I currently lived. I could get a cute 2-bedroom house there for less than a 1-bedroom condo here, I told Jen on the phone that night. And Boulder has the fastest municipal internet in the country, she added. Perfect for your remote work. Mom called while Jen and I were talking. I ignored it, but she called back immediately. Sorry, I need to take this, I told Jen, it's my mom. Put her on speaker, Jen whispered, I want to hear this. I answered the call. Hi, Mom. Monica, why haven't you made an offer on that house yet? The realtor called and said another couple is interested. There's a delay with some paperwork, I lied, the seller is having issues with the title. Well, tell your realtor to hurry things along. You don't want to lose this opportunity. I'll see what I can do, I said, rolling my eyes at Jen. Your father and I were talking, and we think we might help you with some of the furnishings for the new place. We have that nice guest bedroom set we never use. I bit my tongue, now seeing through their generosity. That's kind of you, Mom, I'll let you know. After I hung up, Jen was shaking her head. Wow, they're not even subtle about it. I know, and the worst part is, I almost fell for it. Over the next few weeks, Kim showed me more houses virtually. When I found a charming 2-bedroom cottage with a small yard and a dedicated office space, Jen went to see it in person. Mon, this place is perfect for you, she reported back. It's on a quiet street, the neighbors seem nice, and the internet speed is amazing. I made an offer that day, it was accepted within hours. Meanwhile, Mom kept calling, asking about my house, the one they had picked out for me. I kept making excuses about delays and paperwork issues. The seller is having second thoughts, I told her one day. It might fall through. That can't happen, Mom sounded panicked. Your father and I were just talking about how excited we are for you to have your own place. Yeah, I bet you were, I thought. I signed the final paperwork for my Boulder house remotely, with Kim handling the closing details. The whole time, my parents had no idea what I was really doing. A week after closing, Mom called again. Monica, your father and I have been talking. We're planning to renovate our house soon, and we'll need somewhere to stay during construction. Here it comes, I thought. We were thinking we could stay with you in your new house when you buy it, just temporarily, of course. Of course, I echoed, gritting my teeth. And since we're on the subject, the renovation will be quite expensive. We were hoping you might be able to help us out with some of the costs. I nearly dropped the phone. They weren't even waiting for me to buy the house they wanted before trying to get more money out of me. I'll think about it, I said noncommittally. That's my good girl, Mom said, her voice sickeningly sweet. We knew we could count on you. After I hung up, I sat on my couch, fuming. For the first time, I started to see a pattern. Every visit with my parents ended with them asking for money, $500 here, $1,000 there. They only called when they needed something from me. I realized with startling clarity that I had done exactly the right thing by buying a house far away from them. It was time to break free from their manipulation for good. With my Boulder house purchase finalized, I knew it was time to reveal at least part of my plans to my family. I couldn't keep making excuses forever, and honestly, I was tired of the deception, even if they deserved it. I called my mother and told her I had news about the house situation. I've made a decision, Mom, I bought a house. You what? She practically screamed into the phone. The 4-bedroom? Why didn't you tell us first? We would have helped with the paperwork. I'm sure you would have, I thought bitterly. I'd like to tell everyone at once, I said. Can we have dinner at your place this Friday? I'll share all the details then. Of course, I'll make your favorite lasagna. And I'll invite Rebecca and Tom too, they'll be so excited. I bet they will be, I thought. That Friday, I arrived at my parents' house with butterflies in my stomach. This confrontation was necessary, but I was dreading it. As I pulled into the driveway, I noticed Rebecca's car was already there. Mom greeted me at the door with a hug. There's my homeowner, I'm so proud of you, honey. Dad patted me on the back as I entered. Let me get you a drink, this calls for celebration. In the living room, Rebecca sat on the couch with Tom. She gave me a tight smile. Congrats on the house, sis, she said, not quite meeting my eyes. Dinner was awkward, everyone kept dropping hints about my new house, but no one directly asked me for details. They clearly thought they already knew everything. After we finished eating, Mom cleared her throat. Monica's not the only one with news, she announced. Your father and I have some exciting updates too. Here we go, I thought. We've decided to give our house to Rebecca and Tom, Mom declared proudly. We've already signed the transfer papers. Rebecca beamed while Tom looked uncomfortable. My parents turned to me expectantly. That's quite generous, I managed. Well, they need the space with little Ethan, and of course, you'll be moving into your new house soon, Dad said. Speaking of which, when can we come see it? Actually, I said, taking a deep breath, I have my own announcement. Everyone looked at me. I did buy a house, but not the one you think. Confused silence fell around the table. What do you mean? Mom asked, her voice suddenly sharp. I bought a 2-bedroom house. It's exactly what I wanted, small, manageable, and with a perfect space for my home office. But we thought, Dad began. I know what you thought, I cut in, my voice hardening. I heard you, Mom and Dad. That day when I came over a few months ago? I heard your conversation with Rebecca on the speakerphone. The color drained from my mother's face. What conversation? The one where you called me an old maid and said I'd never get married. The one where you laid out your plan to move into my house and live off me while giving your house to Rebecca. The one where you said you had me completely under control. Rebecca shifted uncomfortably while Tom's eyebrows shot up in surprise. "We never said," Dad started. "Yes, you did, every word, and there's more," I continued, now unable to stop. "I know about your renovation plans. How you expected me to not only let you live in my house but also pay for fixing up your old house before handing it over to Rebecca." "Monica, you're exaggerating," Mom said, trying to regain control. "We just thought it would be nice to help each other out. Family helps family." "Except this wasn't mutual help, was it? This was you taking advantage of me. Using me like a walking ATM while treating Rebecca like the only child who deserves anything." "That's not fair," Rebecca interjected. "Isn't it? Did you know about their plan to move in with me?" Her eyes darted away, she knew. "And here's the thing you all need to understand," I continued. "You won't be moving in with me, ever, because the house I bought isn't even in this state." Dead silence followed my announcement. "What?" Mom finally whispered. "I bought a house in Colorado. I'm moving next week." "Colorado?" Dad sputtered, "but that's 1,500 miles away." "Yes, it is." Mom started crying, not quiet tears, but loud, dramatic sobs. "How could you do this to us? We've already signed over the house to Rebecca." "That was your choice," I said calmly, "just like this is mine." "But where will we live?" Dad demanded. I gestured around. "This is a 3-bedroom house, plenty of room for all of you." Rebecca shot me a venomous look. Clearly, she hadn't planned on having our parents as roommates. "We'll find your new address," Mom threatened between sobs. "We'll come visit." "No, you won't, because I won't tell you where I live." "You can't cut us off like this," Dad shouted. "I'm not cutting you off, I'm setting boundaries, something I should have done years ago." I stood up from the table. "I've been your personal bank for too long. Every visit ends with you asking for money. Every call has a hidden agenda. Not anymore. After everything we've done for you," Mom cried. "What exactly have you done for me lately, Mom? Besides try to manipulate me into supporting you for the rest of your lives?" No one had an answer for that. "I'm leaving now," I said, grabbing my purse. "I hope someday we can have a healthier relationship, but that's up to you." "Monica, wait," Rebecca called as I headed for the door. I paused, looking back at her. "You can't just leave like this. Mom and Dad need somewhere to live." "They have somewhere, right here, with you. Enjoy your house, Beck, it comes with strings attached." The look of horror on my sister's face almost made me laugh. She'd been fine with our parents' scheme when she thought she was getting a free house out of it. Now that she was stuck with them as housemates, she suddenly saw the problem. "What about holidays?" Mom called after me. "What about family?" "I'll send a card," I replied, closing the door behind me. As I drove away, I felt lighter than I had in years. The confrontation had been hard, but necessary. For too long, I'd been the family doormat, and it was time for that to end. When I got back to my apartment, I started packing with renewed energy. In 1 week, I'd be in my new house, in my new city, starting my new life. But even as I packed, the calls started. First my parents, then Rebecca, then aunts and uncles and cousins I barely spoke to. Everyone suddenly needed to check in and, coincidentally, get my new address. I blocked my parents' numbers after the 20th call in 2 days. The emails came next, apologies mixed with guilt trips and demands to know where I was going. I ignored them all. Moving day arrived faster than I expected. I'd hired a small moving company to transport my few belongings to Colorado, and Jen had arranged for them to be delivered to my new address the day after I arrived. I'd kept my packing minimal, selling most of my furniture and planning to start fresh. As I did one final sweep of my apartment, my phone rang. Another unknown number, likely another relative trying to get information. I declined the call and switched my phone to airplane mode. I wasn't dealing with any more family drama today. The flight to Denver was peaceful. For the first time in weeks, I felt like I could breathe. Jen was waiting for me at the airport, beaming with excitement. "Welcome to Colorado," she hugged me tightly. "Are you ready to see your new home?" "More than ready," I replied. The drive to Boulder was beautiful, with mountains visible in the distance. When we pulled up to my new house, I nearly cried. It was perfect, a cute blue cottage with white trim, a small front porch, and a maple tree in the yard. "What do you think?" Jen asked anxiously. "I love it," I said, wiping away a tear. "It's exactly what I wanted." Inside was even better. The previous owners had repainted recently, so the walls were fresh and clean. The kitchen was small but updated, and the second bedroom had built-in bookshelves that would make a perfect home office. "The internet is already set up," Jen told me. "I made sure they installed it yesterday so you could work right away if you needed to." I hugged her again. "Thank you for everything, Jen. I couldn't have done this without you." That first week in my new house was both exciting and nerve-wracking. While I loved setting up my new space, I couldn't shake the fear that somehow my parents would track me down and show up on my doorstep with suitcases in hand. I jumped every time the doorbell rang, which was silly since the only people who knew my address were Jen and the moving company. By the end of the third week, I'd settled into a comfortable routine. I'd found a local coffee shop with great Wi-Fi as an alternative workspace, joined a yoga studio down the street, and even met some neighbors who invited me to their weekend barbecue. "See, life is better here," Jen said when I told her about my new social calendar. She was right. Without the constant drain of my family's demands and manipulation, I had more energy, more money, and more joy in my daily life. Of course, they hadn't given up entirely. My parents had switched to sending emails when I blocked their calls, alternating between guilt trips, "How could you abandon us after all we've done for you?" and fake apologies, "We're sorry if you misunderstood our intentions." I had created a folder called Toxic Family where these messages automatically went, so I didn't have to see them unless I chose to. One day, about 3 months after my move, I got a call from my Aunt Sarah, my mom's sister. Unlike my parents, Sarah had always been straightforward with me, so I answered. "Monica, how are you?" she asked. "I've been worried." "I'm good, Aunt Sarah, really good, actually." "I'm glad to hear it," she hesitated. "Your mother told me you moved out of state." "I did." "She's been difficult since you left." I snorted. "I can imagine." "No, it's not what you think. Your parents are living with Rebecca and Tom now, and it's not going well." I wasn't surprised, but I let her continue. "Tom and your dad never got along, and now that they're under the same roof, they fight constantly. Tom keeps reminding your parents that they're guests in his house, and your dad keeps insisting it's still their family home." A small, petty part of me felt vindicated. That sounds uncomfortable. It is, and now Rebecca is pregnant again. That I hadn't expected. Really? Yes, due in 7 months, she started talking about turning your parents' bedroom into a nursery. I couldn't help it. I laughed. "Let me guess, Mom and Dad aren't thrilled about that?" "They're panicking," Sarah confirmed. "They've realized they have nowhere else to go. They were counting on moving in with you." "Well, that was never going to happen." "I know. For what it's worth, I told your mother she was wrong to try to manipulate you that way. I think she's finally starting to understand how badly she messed up." I appreciated Sarah's honesty, but I wasn't ready to forgive and forget. "Thanks for letting me know. I hope they figure something out. They're talking about renting an apartment, but they're worried about affording it on their own. They managed before they tried to mooch off me. They'll figure it out again." "You're not going to help them?" Sarah asked, though she didn't sound judgmental. "No, I'm done being their ATM. They made their choices, and now they get to live with the consequences." After I hung up, I sat on my porch swing, thinking about what Sarah had told me. My family's grand plan had backfired spectacularly. They'd signed over their house to Rebecca, expecting to move in with me, and now they were stuck as unwanted houseguests in their former home. I didn't feel guilty, not even a little bit. They had tried to use me, to take advantage of my generosity and independence while mocking me behind my back. If they were struggling now, it was a mess of their own making. That evening, I walked through my little house, appreciating each room. My cozy living room with its comfy reading chair by the window. My peaceful bedroom with the handmade quilt I'd splurged on at a local craft fair. My office with its perfect desk setup and the fastest internet I'd ever had. This was my home, mine alone, no one could take it from me or invade it without my permission. For the first time in my adult life, I felt truly free. Free from manipulation, free from unreasonable expectations, free from being treated like a resource rather than a person. As I went to bed that night, I thought about my family situation one last time. Maybe someday we could rebuild our relationship on healthier terms. Maybe not. Either way, I was okay. I had made the right choice for myself, and I didn't owe anyone an apology for that. My phone buzzed with a text from Jen. Saturday hike? The fall colors are amazing right now. Absolutely, I texted back, can't wait. I put my phone down and smiled. My new life was waiting for me, and it was already so much better than I could have imagined.